Great. And if you're able to see the PPT, then fantastic. I'll just get started.
Yes, sir.
So,
Thanks.
namaste. Good afternoon to all the distinguished members of the Indo-American Chamber of Commerce. It is definitely a privilege to engage with a group that represents the most dynamic bridge between the world's oldest democracy and the world's largest. Let me begin with a simple truth today. AI is no longer an option for the enterprise, it's existential.
Yeah.
But the way AI is adapted, and scaled looks very differently when seen from the lens of a startup versus a large organizations. That's where our opportunity lies as a C-suite leaders to blend the startup spirit with the enterprise scale. So let me start with a moment that deeply resonated with me when I was there in one of the CXO meeting of a global semiconductor firm. Over coffee, one of the customer was trying to talk to me saying that Bala, we have got AI models running, data lakes built, even pilot successes are there. But what I need now is a clarity. Will this move the needle on margin, on speed, on my talent strategy across the geographies? And that's when it hit me. AI for the enterprise is no longer a lab experiment or a tech showcase. It's a boardroom mandate. Today, this conversation, what we are trying to have today, is all about answering that exact C suite need, not from the lens of a model accuracy or GPU counts, but through the lens of a profitability, operational resilience, innovation, and cross border scale, what we are trying to look at. AI is now core to your P&L, which you cannot say no for it, to your supply chain foresight, to workforce productivity, and to how you overcome and maneuver this disruption is the key for you. And that's exactly what we will try to unpack in the next few slides or within the next 45 minutes to 1 hour. From global boardroom questions to real AI business cases across the industries. Just for the food of thought, I want to engage you to understand from pilot to the profit why most AI projects stall and how leading firms are crossing the chasm to measurable value. How we can help the AI native enterprises to build what defines a truly AI native business and how it rewires operating models. What are the true cross-border AI play look likes? Leveraging AI to innovate across regulatory, cultural, and talent boundaries. And for the C-suite playbook, decisions, KPIs, and mindset shifts that matter most to every CEO, CFO, or CHROs today. So as I move forward into the next slide, I'm just trying to advocate the thought here. One more perspective I want to bring in before I get in. When was the last time a CEO said, let's wait and see how AI plays out before we decide? In today's boardrooms, wait and see is a luxury few can afford, not everyone. The data speaks volumes. If you see the metrics given out, 87% of C-suite leaders now believe AI is their best shot at competitive advantage. Not cost savings, not digital, but AI. Just last month, when I met one of the CXOs of an enterprise, they weren't asking, should we do AI? Instead, the question was, how do we scale AI across 600 stores in 90 days before the next shopping season begins? This is not experimentation. It's a AI as a strategic lever integrated directly into board level KPIs, from revenue growth to the customer loyalty and workforce resilience. Let's anchor these conversations in the hard truths. As I mentioned, this is not about if or when AI will impact your business. As I mentioned, it is already happening. 87% of executives believe AI give them a competitive edge. And more importantly, over 60% of those who have invested are already seeing revenue gains. What we are witnessing is not just a technology trend, and it's a boardroom transformation. AI is no longer in the IT lane. It has moved to the CEO's desk, CFO portfolio, and CHRO's talent strategy as well. And that's where leaders like you come in. A $15.7 trillion economic potential from AI is not going to be captured by one country or one company. It will be driven by smart collaboration, especially between innovation ecosystems like US and India. This is not hypothetical. To be very honest, think about AI accelerating drug discovery optimizing semiconductor yield, or dynamically pricing airline seats across the borders. These are trillion-dollar transformations in motion. Today, I also see that 63% of reporting revenue is increasing. What does that mean? AI is not just about productivity, it's about performance. Enterprises are beginning to quantify the delta between AI enhanced and AI absent business units. And the difference is very, very tangible. So, as a C suite leaders, the question before us is not should we invest in AI? The real question is are we building the right cross border AI partnership to scale impact and accelerate the profitability? Now, let me try to zoom out and look at the cross border picture. The chart which I'm trying to show here shows AI investment growth in the US and India. The US continue to lead in the AI foundational models, commercialization aspects of it, while India is rapidly becoming a hub of implementation, integration, frugal innovation. This duality creates a powerful combo, a powerful partnership opportunity. Let's imagine one thing a US based fintech startup partner with a Hyderabad based GenAI lab to build a regulatory co pilot for global compliance, or an Indian SaaS firm collaborates with a Texas based healthcare provider to train large language models or multilingual patient interactions. These are not hypotheticals, they are already happening. The US continues to dominate in the AI investments today, primarily driven by the hyperscaler. When I say hyperscaler, it's all about Azure, AWS, and Google, R&D, and startup capital. India is very much scaling fast, from pilots in BFSI sector and retail to global delivery center transformation. What does this present is? This presents a unique Indo-US collaboration window where IP meets scale and innovation meets execution. I want your AI strategy must be your growth strategy. And that strategy must be global by design, local by execution, and aligned to the business value. So remember, AI is no longer a technology initiative. It is a strategic imperative under which we need to operate and drive. AI strategies must lead boardrooms agendas and not follow them. As executives, we must shift our question from what AI use cases are working to which ones will create the next 10% margin upside for us. That will unlock new business models. In fact, let's go a little deeper. What defines the enterprises that are turning AI investments into enterprise wide impact? That takes us to the next part what it means to become a AI native. With that note, I just want to bring you a thought from the business value proposition also. So, let me share a common pattern I've seen across every boardroom. If you're from Tokyo to Toronto or to any of the companies, the most compelling AI conversation don't start with algorithms. They start with impact, which constitutes revenue, cost, customer loyalty, and market edge. These are the four important levers which drives the impact. Because it's important that we should face this situation. If AI doesn't show up in the quarterly earnings on the NPS scorecard, it's not real. So one of the global industrial electronics client we worked had over 8,000 service engineers across three continents. By embedding predictive maintenance with AI, they did not just reduce the downtime, they increased the service contracts by 18% and saved over $40 million in logistic cost in 1 year. That's AI from the lab to the balance sheet. That's what I was trying to advocate. So when I walk through some of the metrics with the CXO lens, there are four important metrics which I always narrate about. One is revenue growth, that is the top line. Companies applying AI strategically are seeing 19 to 30% higher revenue, higher revenue growth compared to their peers. This is not incremental, it's disruptive in nature. You can think about dynamic pricing, AI powered sales assistants, hyper personalized promotions. All these are part of your revenue growth models. The second important metric is cost reduction. Through AI in supply chain optimization, document automation, and predictive field operations, companies are putting significant OPEX levers. The third
Bala sir, are you there?
I think he dropped. Is our internet weak, Shikha? Check once.
Oh no, our internet
Or
is fine. We'll just wait. I think he'll be joining again, maybe. Bala sir, you are there?
I'm there, I'm there.
Yeah, yeah. Please, I think your PPT you have to share again, sir.
What happened?
In between, sir,
Will,
voice was not there, sir.
oh,
Just,
sorry about
just
that.
half
I
an
was
hour.
not real.
Yeah, yeah, just half an hour before. Just half a minute before.
Okay. You were
Yeah,
you able to see this business value proposition?
yeah, yeah. This was there, sir. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Then I'll try to narrate this particular slide for your benefit.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so I'll just try to bring out one. Uh, See, the important thing is when I was trying to discuss with one of the global industrial electronics client, where they had working over with 8,000 plus service engineers across three different continents. What we did for them is by embedding the predictive maintenance with AI, they did not just reduce downtime, they increased service contracts by 18% and also saved over $40 million dollars in their logistic costs in 1 year. That is what we witnessed it as AI moving from the lab to the balance sheet. I was just trying to bring out one particular perspective on what are the tangible business impact and what are the specific metrics which can be observed through the CXO lens. The four things which comes to my mind, and that's what I was trying to put up there. Revenue growth, that's a top line. Companies applying AI strategically are seeing 19 to 30% higher revenue growth compared to peers. This is not incremental; it's disruptive in nature. We have witnessed so many such kind of examples, right from hyper personalized promotions, AI powered assistants, sales assistants in particular, and dynamic pricing models. The second important metric is cost reduction. So, through AI in supply chain optimization, document automation, and predictive field operations, today I see companies are pulling significant OPEX levers. Third important differentiation is the competitive differentiation because whoever is applying the AI, 76% of the executives now treat AI as a mission critical for staying ahead. Those who don't adopt now, they have a risk of becoming getting disrupted. The fourth important metric is customer experience. We have seen continuously that AI driven personalization is boosting customer satisfaction by 35% and lifetime value by 22%. Today, some of the industries like retail, like uses predictive carting, banking leverages smart nudges, healthcare utilizing AI triaging patient care. These are some of the candid examples showing how experience can be impacting customer and improving their loyalty. So on the right hand side, I show you some kind of a radar chart which demonstrates how operations and customer services benefiting highest productivity boost through AI agents, workflow automation, chatbots today. This is some of the AI footprint across this function. Similarly, sales and marketing, rich cost reduction via campaign optimization and lead scoring, they're getting the benefits. From the supply chain and R&D, you see predictive analytics and simulation tools drive decision agility. In short, what I was trying to advocate the thought is AI is not a siloed IT initiative. It's a full stack business lever. You don't need AI everywhere. You need AI where it matters. Start with functions that be directly to revenue, cost, or loyalty, and build tangible, measurable wins. That's a path under which we need to really operate and try, and which can create a significant impact for our entire journey. As I move forward, in an era where AI is shaping economic muscle, no single country has all the ingredients. This is the honest truth. But together, India and the US form one of the most potent AI alliances the world has seen. This is not just a partnership of convenience, it's a strategic collaboration of complementary strengths, what we want to take it. Think of it like a Apollo machine, which is very, very commonly known. The US brought cutting edge vision, mission control, and scientific breakthroughs. But without global manufacturing, software precision, and the ground operation spread across these continents, that moonshot wouldn't have happened. Today's AI moonshot requires that same orchestration across all the borders. The importance of the strategic partnership is very, very critical because that will drive and complement each other's strengths. If you take US bringing top tier innovation, research depth, and product vision, India can bring scale, talent depth, and cost efficiency. Together, they form the innovation to execution flywheel. That's an important element. Second important thing, if you look at market access, joint ventures can together unlock around 1.7 billion consumers with both mature and emerging market dynamics. You can take it from Silicon Valley to Surat, Boston to Bangalore. Third important thing is regulatory navigation. Very, very critical in the era of AI. As AI regulations get stricter from the European Union AI Act, and the US executive orders, cross border alignment can become a strategic shield to mitigate compliance risks. In 2024 alone, cross border AI startup funding is up 43%, reaching $8.2 billion. That is very, very critical for all of us to understand. And that's not a trend, it's a signal. Capital is flowing to where collaboration scales faster than the competition. I just want to acknowledge once again you are able to see the screen properly, right? Shika?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Screen is fine, sir.
Okay,
Thank you.
fair. Thank you. So, if you try to take the comparative ecosystem view, today there are four important elements what we need to really look at. One is the talent pool. Today, India has around 2.8 million AI professionals who has a vast coding experience, engineering abilities, and data talent base. US leads with world-class research, AI patents, and academic excellence. From the cost efficiency angle, you see India brings 30 to 45% lower development cost when compared to the other countries, which is crucial for the startups and enterprise experimentation. From the market focus, India focuses on scale and inclusion. Like you see, our India stack, digital public infrastructure, talking about Aadhaar, UPI, smart farming, now with backend protocol and the distributed energy resources, all forming those things, bringing more and more people to utilize this internet economy. US aims at high-end solutions, enterprise AI, digital twins, autonomous systems, likewise. From the infrastructure standpoint, if you look at US as mature hyperscaler cloud infra, but India is growing rapidly with 5G, public data platforms, government-backed digital highways. So if you are a CXO, my request is to think beyond captive centers and outsourcing. Think of AI joint ventures, innovation co-creation, regulatory reciprocity, and cross-pollination of IP. And the real edge is not building AI in-house or outsourcing it. It's in co-creating it across the borders. So, how does this cross-border strategy reflect in your boardroom priorities is a key for what you need to question yourself. What exactly should the C-suite measure, manage, and move to stay AI forward? These are some of the questions which really triggers. But having said that, let's also try to understand some of the success stories. What really resonated well in the AI transformation journey. This will give us a some more broader understanding and insights so that we can start appreciating these facts. So, what if I told you the biggest risk in AI today is not the technology, it's a lack of bold execution. We often overestimate what AI can do in the next year, but grossly underestimate what it can transform in next 18 months when aligned to the real business pain points. This slide is a reflection of some of the candid stories, results, and some of the real boardroom courage which really taken that executive decisions to drive the journey. Some of these are commonly known to few of you, I believe. If you take in Apollo hospitals, cardiac conditions often go undiagnosed until it is too late. Apollo introduced AI driven diagnostic tools to detect heart anomalies early, which has truly resulted in, according to the metrics published, 32% increase in early interventions, 28% reduction in treatment costs. So AI here did not just automate, it saved lives and had a tremendous impact how it redefined that entire clinical economics. If you take the second example, Procter and Gamble, primarily in the supply chain optimization area, where in the era of volatile demand, P&G used predictive AI across 100 plus distribution centers to forecast demand and reduce inventory gaps. What does it resulted? It resulted around $500 million annual savings, 35% reduction in the stockouts, and there is a huge boardroom impact. This is how AI can move the needle on working capital and customer satisfaction simultaneously. That's a clear outcome for the boardroom because they see the savings and also the stockouts. In the HDFC Bank, if you take, especially focusing on the financial fraud prevention, you see so much of frauds which are happening nowadays in the credit cards or in the debit card area. And it is very important that banking, telecom sectors put down those kind of a guardrails, which will really detect those patterns and try to understand the frauds which are happening. So what did HDFC did is they had deployed a AI to analyze over 100 transaction variables, parameters in real time. That resulted in 67 drop in the fraud losses. Even though they have deployed, it's not foolproof, but still drop was evident. 91% decrease in the false positives. Accuracy was very, very critical and important. So the insight what I want to bring out is this is not just a compliance win, it's an operational resilience in action. AI is a shield for the brand trust. So the importance aspect what I'm trying to tell is we see a compelling insight. While logistics and healthcare take longer to implement, they yield the highest ROI. Retail and financial services show faster implementation cycle, ideal for quick wins AI initiatives. So map your AI investments based on impact velocity versus implementation friction. So many times you see that your engineering teams may not be ready to apply certain things. But if you start measuring your engineering velocity versus the implementation friction, you will be able to look at where actually your AI investments can provide the better yield. Now, the key takeaway of what I want to communicate here is success engines not on fancy algorithms, but on laser focused business objectives, what you're trying to emphasize. The problem defines the AI, not the other way around. You should also notice how each example reflects the power of Indo-US collaboration, from advanced technology to the scalable execution. That's a real multiplier effect, what you want to really look at and bring it to the table. So start looking at frameworks, KPIs, governance approaches, which can help AI to scale from pilot to the platform. That is the goal. And for that, you need to have your execution playbook at a C-suite level. Having said that, it's very important that we should establish a strategic implementation framework. You can democratize AI by giving the lot of tools. You can enable the people to utilize co-pilots, code assistants in their day-to-day job function. But as a directors of the organization, as the leaders of the organization, do you carry the implementation framework or a roadmap, which will be very, very critical for your organization to embark on this journey? I've seen umpteen number of instances in last 18 months, particularly AI pilots failed. Not because the model was wrong, but because the organization was not ready. The hardest part of AI is not the algorithm, it's the alignment. Believe it or not, that is what I am clearly observing. And this chart gives us the C-suite roadmap to move from AI aspiration to enterprise-wide impact, which is critical for any organization to really look at. If you see the strategic assessment, every transformation begins with a mirror. You should ask, are we solving real business problems or chasing shiny technology? Most of the times we follow the technology which is there. But it is important that you apply the technology to solve your business problem. You should identify functions where AI aligns with immediate ROI and long term differentiation. The second important thing is a governance structure. This is, sorry, governance structure. This is very important, critical, because success in AI demands cross functional governance, not just CIOs or data scientists. It brings together risk, finance, operations, HR, and tech to define KPIs. It helps us in setting up the ethical standards also. Very, very important for all of us to understand and appreciate that. When I say that, uh, Bringing together this risk, finance, operations, HR, and tech will help us to define the KPIs and set ethical boundaries and embed that accountability within all of us. This is not a governance structure, it's a trust infrastructure, I would call. The third important element is resource allocation. You need to allocate your talent, tooling, and transformation together. That is what the investment should come. Don't underinvest in these talent pipelines. Whether through upskilling, cross-skilling, or co-innovation labs, this investment is critical. Your budget should really reflect the intent under which you are trying to operate. If AI is a boardroom agenda, it must show up in your capex. Fourth important thing is change management. Very important. If you don't do this change management properly, your strategy goes for a toss. AI does not just disrupt tasks, it redefines the roles. Today, I am observing how you equip your workforce for the shift through training, experimentation zone, and expectation management is very, very crucial. AI maturity equals to the change maturity what you want to drive. Some of the critical implementation success factors are depends on your executive sponsorship. Top, it's one of the top driver. Without visible CXO backing, AI remains a tech initiative. It's not a boardroom initiative. You need to carry a clear strategy and talent. Just second tier level, talent must evolve from coders to cross-functional collaborations. Very, very critical. Third important is data infrastructure. You can't fuel AI with fragmented, unlabeled, or untrusted data. Your foundation data models need to be there. And many of the customers have failed in their pilot to the productionization because their foundation was weak. Fourth, change management. You often ignore this, but this is very vital for the success. This way, because this is where the adoption happens, and you need to have a clear adoption metrics under which you want to measure the success. So what I want to say is you should, from the consideration standpoint as an executive, you should start with high ROI pilot projects, build early wins, communicate them visibly, balance short-term wins with long-term strategic bets. Not every use case will yield results in 90 days, but some will reshape your next 5 years. You can leverage some of your key partnerships between Indo-American to access both R&D horsepower and global scalability, what you can really look at. So where do we go from here? The AI revolution does not need more dashboards. It needs bold leadership, clear execution paths, and a shared global vision. And it is very important that we should lead with that thought process which can navigate through these risks and ethical considerations what I want to communicate. If you typically take a look at the entire risk factors for the C-suite attention, which is very important. So let's investigate these pieces and tie up the things. As a C-suite leader, we are not only the architects of innovation, we are also its gatekeepers. The risks you ignore today may become tomorrow's boardroom crisis. This chart is reflecting one of the important agenda in this direction. What are the key risk factors for the C-suite attention? If you are a leader who is driving an enterprise, looking at some of the AI adoption in your journey, you need to be aware of these four important risk factors. One, data privacy and security. Today, compliance is non-negotiable. From GDPR in Europe to CCPA in California and India's PDPB, the global regulatory patchwork is completely tightening. It's not just about consent forms, it's about embedding privacy by design into your AI systems and ensuring explainability across the playbooks. Very, very critical. Across the life cycle, you need to have the explainability. Why such decision has been taken? You should have the trace of that. Second important thing is algorithmic bias and fairness. Biased algorithms don't just fail technically, they can damage your brand, trigger lawsuits, or create unintended social harm. Use bias audits, very important. Synthetic test cases, because not every time you have the data which you want to test about. So you can use GenAI or agentic AI to generate a synthetic test data. Diverse training data sets to preempt this so that fairness can be obtained and it will be very good for the business to drive forward. The third important thing is regulatory compliance. When you are trying to navigate through this channel, AI regulation rapidly getting evolved, especially across India and the US. Cross-border compliance frameworks will redefine enterprise viability, and it could be sector-specific also. You can need to review the specific laws in healthcare, BFSI, defense, which are very, very particular and very, very critical. The fourth important lever is workforce transformation. This risk factor is very, very critical because when AI is taking over repeatable work, it's imperative to reskill, upskill, and redefine the roles. If you are working in the same mode, it may not help you. Your AI strategy is only as strong as your people strategy. How well you are able to upskill them to them, because the entry point level, everything is taken care by AI. But it's more about the AI maturity is where the change maturity comes in. AI ethics maturity today, if you typically see the chart what shows here by industry, you can see some of the technology industries, financial services industries, both in US have a very high level maturity, but again in healthcare, retail, manufacturing, it's all getting cutting up. So the reason is you see today US companies lead in ethical frameworks, especially in the technology and financial services, while we are trying to drive it in the healthcare and tech. So ethical maturity must grow alongside the AI maturity. They are not sequential, they are simultaneous imperatives under which we want to operate. So think of AI Bill of Rights, NIST AI framework, FTC oversight. These are some of published AI regulatory frameworks available. One need to review this and one need to follow this because they try to advocate the thought about how focused on accountability, cross protection, and anti discrimination is leveraged. This is particularly from the US context. While in India, you need to obtain Niti Aayog's AI principles, our PDPB acts, MITI standards, which are giving a great amount of clarity, especially in the financial services, telecom, and healthcare. So executives need to continuously build AI governance and satisfy both these worlds, whether it is accountability or the Eastern scalability. So what I want to convey is, as an AI leader, you don't just build for performance, you build for trust. As a boardroom, you need to bring in the fiduciary duty to ask yourself, is our AI not only profitable but also principled or not? With that note, what I want to say is from boardroom ambition to the bottom line execution, from local pilots to cross border platforms, AI for the C2, C-suite is no longer a choice, it's a charter, and we need to shape it wisely and collaboratively. Very, very critical and important, which will really make a way for to build an AI ready organization. You just need to ask yourself if you are leading any particular firm, is my organization AI ready? Is my foundation really available in the right shape? So we have talked about AI impact. We have talked about execution frameworks. We have talked about risk governance. But one of the biggest thing which we need to unlock is how can I make my organization AI ready? None of that will work unless your organization is truly AI ready. AI transformation is not just a tech upgrade; it's an enterprise muscle building that exercise. Today, I see some of the key core capabilities need to be really invested and looked at. One is talent and skills development. AI literacy must go beyond the data science team. Earlier, people were thinking if I have the data science people, they know all these models, they can embed my domain intelligence, it works. No, it should be going beyond that. Every person in the organization need to be AI savvy. Your finance leaders, your HR partners, your operation managers all need to understand what AI can do for you and if what it shouldn't do. Build specialized expertise and foster organizational fluency so that AI fluency works in the organization. This is a clear investment and capability what you need to really look at. The second important thing is data infrastructure. Data is a 21st century fuel, we all know that, but without a governance, quality, and interoperability, it becomes a noise. CXOs must today focus on prioritize scalable pipelines, lineage tracking, and metadata management. From data lakes to the decision ready data layers. This is a key investment. One of the customer when I was working, he said that you can bring in a lot of AI transformations to me, but I know my foundation is weak. My processes are broken. If those things are broken, how can I embark on a journey? So his first foremost thing was to fix the foundation, make his data foundation more AI ready, then build those particular pipelines. Likewise, innovation culture is also very, very critical. The best AI ready firms treat AI like a product, not a project. Create safe spaces to fail fast, learn fast, iterate fast. Create cross functional pods and experimentation zones, which are very, very key because these things will help in developing customer facing use cases very, very rapidly. Fourth important capability, what you need to really look at is governance and ethics. Governance is not a checkpoint. It is more of a culture what you want to really bring in, embed. You need to start building and implementing clear oversight boards, some of the risk scoring systems, ethical guidelines, which can be really tied to your business KPIs. That's how trust becomes more scalable and reachable. So one of the clear important view I want to bring to your table is AI readiness maturity model. Every organization can plot across these five, six attributes, which really helps you to understand what is the gap you are trying to operate in. So the radar, what I'm trying to give out in the chart is how the average current state in yellow, what you see, the internal radar, is versus the target maturity in blue. The largest gap often provides you in process integration, technical infrastructure. What you need to prioritize as a CXO is you need to prioritize in your readiness assessments. You need to draw out what is the weakest link and you need to align your investments appropriately. I only want you to ask one thing. Where is your organization today on this radar? If I plot your organization this radar, and what does it take to move to the outer ring in 12 to 18 months? So you take these six particular attributes: leadership, readiness, technical infrastructure, talent and skills, process integration, governance. If you map and then take the directions in that forward, that's where your level of maturity increases. And it is important that you need to blend that US maturity in strategy and governance with India's vast AI talent pool and operational agility. Both need to come together. Think of it as like an innovation from the West, implementation from the East. That's the best way to put it. You should put down a clear executive action, I would say, which can conduct AI readiness audit, which can cover leadership alignment, process fitment, tech maturity, and the talent availability. That requires a clear capability roadmap which can be linked with your business objectives or business outcomes. Today, I want to advocate one important thought. Being AI ready is no longer about competitive edge. It's about organization survivability in a world where decisions are made faster than the traditional structure follows. So we were working with MIT Sloan management, and today we believe that more and more agents will be coming into the action that will fill the shoes of a developer economy. We formed a very orchestrated a very important white paper called Intelligent Choice Architectures. Because in tomorrow's autonomous world, agents need to make the decisions. Agents need to have the proper choices under which they need to make the decisions in the context of the organization it is operating. So, bringing that intelligent decision capabilities from the choices available, which can be done in an autonomous manner, was a key. And that's where I see agents can operate in that intelligent choice architectures. The question is, are we building an organization that is ready to run with it, scale it, and govern it across the borders, business units, and generations? So it's a very important competitive edge what you need to really create to survive. And that requires an executive action plan. And that action plan will help you to drive through this particular journey of AI adoption and really make a bigger and bigger impact, what you can really look at. So, if I try to take this entire transformation story, not with more strategic decks, but with decisive executive action, this particular chart outlines a practical 12-month AI acceleration roadmap that can meet any of the C-suite team, which can adopt across geographies, across sectors. You can start with a mirror, look inward. Do you have the data backbone, tech maturity, and the business clarity to adopt the AI with purpose? This is not an AI IT audit, remember that. It's more about trying to talk and advocate the thought of how organizations are seeing from the Silicon Valley and also in Hyderabad. You can identify 10 to $20 million in quick win opportunities within the first 60 days as part of your assessment and strategy by simply aligning AI to existing revenue or cost levers. This is as part of the assessment. Second thing, governance and team, very critical. Next comes in this particular stage of next 3 to 4 months, now third and fourth month, you need to focus on how orchestration will be driven. Establish a AI steering committee, which involves cross-functional teams with legal, data, product, finance, and operations at the table, And you can start embedding them with the ethics from the beginning, not to just check the box. It's not academic checkbox, but to shape how your AI behaves in the market, because it's sufficient guardrails, context filters, all these things are needed. So establishing the ethics right in the beginning is very crucial for your structure, governance, and also for the success of your delivery. In the following 2 months, with the pilot projects are kicked in, you are ready to act. You can launch 2 to 3 pilots, not for proof of concept, but proof of value. Pick use cases with clear ROI, high C-suite visibility, and have a very tremendous end user impact. One of our customers recently deployed a predictive maintenance pilot, which I mentioned, across 15 factory lines and was able to achieve around 22% reduction in downtime in just 90 days. Today, AI development is acceleration is so fast that cycle time is shrinking. And earlier, whatever used to happen 6 months, 1 year, now you are able to achieve it in a month, 2, 3 months easily. Coming to the seventh to 12th month, the scale and integrate. Once your pilots deliver, it's time to scale, institutionalize best practices, build a reusable AI delivery stack, and most importantly, create internal AI champions across business units. This is very, very critical if you want to really spread the scale and integrate that entire enterprise ecosystem. Then only you can see pilots can evolve as a platform over the period of time. On the right side, if you typically see the AI investment prioritization matrix, where you should invest first. So always this is a question which comes in everyone's mind. The matrix gives you some kind of indicative view. I'm not saying it's a very important view, but it's an indicative view. High business impact versus ease of implementation. That's how the x-axis and y-axis is defined. It could be across customer experience, predictive maintenance, operational efficiency, and you can cluster in the upper right list where to start. What are the visible wins? Every dot what you see in this represents a, it could be a startup, joint venture, or center of excellence, either in India or US. The intent is where are you placing your AI big bets and how fast they are maturing. So for that to happen, you should start asking few questions. Is your data infrastructure AI ready? Are your executives aligned on AI priorities? Have you identified two to three use cases with clear ROI and sponsorship? These questions will unlock under which you are trying to operate, drive your thinking, and move forward with the approach under which you want to operate and drive. So, as I say, it's very important that you understand some of the. I'm trying to give an indicative thought because it is for the IACC. So, as part of Indo-American Chamber of Commerce, also, you may want to look at have I created four important levers which can help me to act boldly and wisely? That is AI Executive Network, which focuses on peer exchanges and co-innovation learning. I have imparted executive education policy, which can upskill our boardroom and business leaders to think in that direction. I have curated partnership programs, which can provide me the access to the curated AI solutions from both the nations. Did I reviewed and applied some of the regulatory guides, which ensures help me to navigate through the Privacy Acts, PDPB, GDPR, NIST, and beyond? All these things are very, very critical because the story is you will write over the next 12 months. The companies who move from insight to action now will not just lead the AI, they will define the cross border business models for the decade ahead. So let's build together, let's scale together, let's lead responsibly together. I'm coming to the last slide of the talk where I'm trying to give away some of the key takeaways, which is very, very critical for you to understand. So, whatever we witness today as a conversation, by distilling everything we have explored into two parts, the mindset and the method. What you see here is not just a checklist, it's a leadership compass for AI transformation. AI is now like a strategic imperative, very important that you understand, and not just as a technology consideration. So, as a in 2024, I believe last year, a global pharma major launched a AI first R&D program, but they did not start in the lab. They started in the boardroom. Why? Because they knew AI would redefine capital allocation. It would redefine time to market. It would also model to rethink on the risk modeling. It was not just about the workflows. It must be AI must be viewed as a CEO issue, not a CIO hobby. The second important thing is cross-border AI integration requires culture awareness and regulatory adaptation. A Silicon Valley startup tried expanding in India with an AI-based lending model, truly failed. Not because the algorithm did not work, but because it did not align with India's credit scoring norms and regulatory sensitivities. Collaboration across the India-US corridor must be not just technical but contextual in nature, so they can drive through the partnerships. The third important is early AI adopters are capturing significant market share and competitive advantage. One of the fastest growing retail companies in India use GenAI to personalize shopping, especially in the shopping journeys across the tier 2 cities. Initially, the sales rose by 28%. At the same time, a US based logistic firm used AI to reduce delivery costs by 17% through predictive routing. In both cases, being early created a moat. The late adopters are still figuring out how. The early ones are asking what next. That's how you see today many AI native enterprises are getting born. The fourth important thing is building a data driven culture is as important as technology implementation. So today the best AI engine won't save a company where data lives in silos. Trust is low and decision making is very instinctive in nature. Most successful firms I've seen uh, focus on the building the data curiosity across the C-suite. The data curiosity is very critical. It's not about hiring the data scientist. It's about building the data curiosity across the C-suite, which makes a big difference. So you see on the right hand side, I'm reiterating the same fact on how executing roadmap for AI success can be seen as. So one of the leading financial institutions in New York began their AI journey with a full stack readiness scan which includes technology, data, talent, and culture. It can cover unexpected wins like legacy data sets that could feed fraud detection. Within 3 months, you see that their working model reduced false positives by 23%. A Fortune 500 Indian IT firm created an internal AI governance council co-chaired by the CFO and CHRO. Why? Because they see AI investment decisions impact cost structures, hiring, compliance, customer trust. So, strategy without governance is innovation without insurance. It's very important that you should have that strategy and governance together, bind it. So, think small to scale smart. A US based health tech was another important startup launched a 60-day pilot using Gen AI. Just to summarize the clinician notes, the transcriptions, or you may call, and they significantly see that 40% reduction in the documentation time, and it improved patient throughput also. They started with pilots that really excited the board and not just with a tech team. So it's important that how you can launch and identify the pilot projects plays a very important role. Another example I want to quote here is a manufacturing firm with was having a sites in Texas and Tamil Nadu built a central AI playbook. After their pilot in India provided very good results. They codified it, they scaled it across the plants, which helped them to cutting across the unplanned downtime by almost 35%. Integration is not about copying, it's about codifying and scaling with purpose. That's where you see that how you can scale by integrating the different enterprise systems together so that they'll be able to communicate and manage and also manage the failover also. Last but not the least is continuity, learn and adapt. So, in an era where models age faster than milk, in fact, yesterday I was there in Fusion AI Summit. One of the question which came up there is whether we should adopt AI first or we should adapt AI first. So, in an era where you are trying to see these models are aging fast and you only take the sustainable advancement in a learning loop, you should continuously learn, apply, experiment, and the more iterations you do faster, you'll be able to gain the advantage. So today, top firms are investing in internal AI feedback engines where frontline users can flag, suggest, and even help retrain the models. This keeps your AI aligned with evolving business needs because today, whatever the model learned, it cannot adapt if it does not continuously learn. So it need to be learned continuously. So as leaders, our job is not to chase the future, it is to reshape it. And the companies that succeed in AI will be the ones that lead with clarity and act with purpose and scale with trust across the functions, across the geographies, across the industries. So I just want to mention one thing. It's a beginning of your transformation blueprint, which can drive through this particular AI journey and help you to gain the success. I stop here. I invite more questions coming in so that we can discuss, deliberate, and help each other how we can navigate through this AI journey.
Post their question
Post
in
their question.
Q&A box.
Q&A.
We'll take the questions from there.
Slides will be shared, Atul sir, Atul Kulshrestha. I will be
Yes, sir.
sharing the
Yes.
slides with Shika and she will forward that to you.
Yeah, we will circulate to all the participants and members of IACC. And the next is risk factor in AI adoption in the absence of adequate data protection laws. So
So
there's a
the
question.
data, yeah, I understand. Kanti Mohan Garu is asking, and data protection laws are evolving, and the risk factors is definitely there. I'm not saying that it is completely risk free, because more and more such scenarios are evolving. We start seeing these particular risk factors emerged, and that's where the amendments to the data protection laws are happening on a continuous basis. So it's an equal opportunity for citizens, enterprises, governments, and also the policymakers to come together to evolve this particular data protection laws as more risks are discovered. Because if you see today, even in the ecosystem of viruses, right, the more new signatures keeps evolving, and the malwares coming in, and you keep improving your virus protection softwares accordingly. Similarly, here also, when within the AI, the segment is so vulnerable that these risk factors are not easy to be counted at first go. You keep monitoring it and improving it.
Okay, sir. Thank you. So the next question is, what are the most common pitfalls companies encounter when integrating AI into their business strategies, and how can they be avoided?
Very good questions. So there are, it's a multidimensional response, I would say. So one, the most common pitfalls the companies will definitely encounter when they're integrating AI is their skill gaps. So the skill gaps primarily because their workforce may not be ready to accept. So there might be a lot of resistance, and you need to counter that particular thing by build cross scaling and upscaling your things. That is a talent. The second important pitfall companies encounter is the change management, because people will not embrace the new tools coming into their regular work, and they don't accept. Because if you see that I do a work and there's some specific way of doing it, and if you say that this particular work can be automated and you just need to review and give the feedback, some resistance, the resistance which will come in. So you need to handle the change management skill gap appropriately. If you are able to do that, then third important thing is you look at your identification of the use cases always becomes a challenge. If sometimes you try to pick up the use cases which are feasible but not viable. What I mean to say feasible is you can implement it, but it's not viable in the context of the deployment, because there is a lot of dynamism in the data which is getting changed, and your models need to completely relearn every time it is making the decisions. So it becomes more cost oriented. Picking up the right use case for solving the problems is very, very important. So enterprises fail in picking up the right use cases which has provided a low cost, high impact, or high benefit. So you need to follow a simple strategy. I gave you a kind of a roadmap. If you can follow that strategy, and that will at least give you a kind of a guidance which you can avoid. And last but not the least is try to learn the lessons learned from the experiences coming from some of the industry players who have already gone through that phase. Speak to them, work with them, so that you understand these pitfalls in naturally, and you will be able to mitigate that particular pitfalls or mitigate that kind of a risk ahead in advance rather than falling into the trap once again.
Right, sir. Thank you, sir. So the next question is potential AI impact on employment.
Pardon?
Sir, can you hear me? The next question is
Yeah.
potential AI impact on employment.
Potential AI impact on employment. So, one thing for sure, with AI coming into the existence and the mainstream adoption, your current roles will be faded. Some of the roles will be faded. Not all the roles. Some of the roles will be going out. You need to accept that. New roles will be start emerging. And from the employment standpoint, there are two things are going to happen. Your entry level benchmarks are increased. Most of the entry level work functions can be done through the bots, through the AI agents going forward. You need not develop everything from the scratch. Your skills will be changed. So people need to start developing the new skills. Earlier, if there is a problem given, you know how to solution it. Now, you should have the intelligence in asking the right questions for the assistants to perform that particular activity. It's not about answering, it's about questioning. So your prompt engineering skills will be changed. Your employment will be affected for those people who are not adapting and adopting the AI tools. But people who are adapting and adopting the AI tools will continue to survive and excel in this journey. So AI impact on the employment will be there marginally now, but it will start evolving the new avenues of the developing the things in the future. Today, if you're typically asking organization, they say that with AI tools coming in, it should reduce my work. Yes, it will reduce your work, but it will not help you to improve the engineering velocity unless you are maintaining the same workforce and applying the tools. It will less trade-off. Now, if say for instance, if with a tool you're able to reduce the cost, means you're saying I'm reducing 10% cost, I need to remove 1%. You can remove, but net will be the same. You should focus on engineering velocity. You should focus on the time to market. You should focus on the market access. That is more crucial. And that's where I would say that don't worry about the workforce, worry about the engineering velocity and the market access what you can gain with the use of AI tools. When you do that with consistency, you feel that you are not impacting the employment, but you are improving your top line and improving your bottom line. So both are critical components. Temporary glitch is there, but in a long term, I see a huge benefit coming in because we see through this kind of a changes coming in. We have seen through the internet time, we've seen through the cloud adoption time, people were always talking about it will lose the jobs, but jobs keep on evolving. And same thing happens now also, but currently it's a temporary glitch. Just have patience.
So next is the compliment. Excellent session, tremendous value added. Thank you,
Thank
IACC
you.
and Balaji Prasad. So next is how to bring all CXOs on same page who have difference of opinion and also competence level in their teams below them and are regarded in tech adoptions. So I think this is the same that you just answered.
Yeah, yeah, we carry the same focus on fostering a shared vision, I would say, because you need to keep on demonstrating the value of tech through the tangible examples. The more you try to unlock the organization value, uh, employee value, customer value, you will be able to address those concerns and provide that kind of a cost benefits to them. So have an open dialogue, have a peer-to-peer learning, just like in the IACC, you can connect together, try to understand how I can involve different stakeholders for making the decision making, build the consensus. If that is a continuous way of doing the things, now you will be able to make a bigger impact.
Right. Next question is reliability of AI models in critical decision making. Are these AI initiatives are too overwhelming in many scenarios? How to balance this?
Yeah, your thought process is valid. I have no doubt about it because sometimes so many models are living in the system and it will be overwhelmed, and you need to live with this particular chain of thought. But it is important that you understand. Uh, some of these models will evolve over the period of time. See, unlike your earlier enterprise systems or cloud systems, which are whenever you deploy, you know that it will work. But in AI, it's not the same. It may not, it may work in what particular data context, but if it moves to a different data context, it may not work. So it is important that we understand that reliability of the AI models in the critical decision making keeps evolving, and you need to accept the change. You may not get the accuracy at the first level. It may, you may start at 30%, 20% also, but as you continuously and consistently use this AI model, it start learning and adapting to your nature, need, and behave appropriately. So over the period of 6 months, 1 year, you see that model maturity increases, and they will be able to deliver the results much better than past. So it keeps evolving, and when the things are evolving, it will really adapt to the need. So what I want to communicate is, have patience, be consistent in using it, you will get the results.
Right, sir. Next question is that HR increasingly adopts AI tools for recruitment, performance management, and employee analytics. What safeguards are in place to ensure that sensitive employee data is securely handled and protected, especially when integrated across platforms or shared across departments?
Very good question, Kavita. See, basically, within our organization and many organizations have seen that right from the resume screening to the, you take through the entire talent acquisition, talent management, talent retention, that entire talent life cycle, right? You have this particular AI getting adopted at every level. So, but here, the privacy information of each employee need to be protected through the specific guardrails, and that is part of the organization ecosystem. Organization security team will be much more responsible what can be shared, what cannot be shared. With AI or without AI, this security guardrails will be the same. But with AI, when you're trying to bring in, the false positives are more possible, that need to be taken care, and the hallucination is much more possible, that need to be taken care. And you also need to look at the bias elements in the models giving the information associated to the associate. Say for instance, if someone is filling their performance appraisal, and the model is trying to assess the performance and telling you this is what the performance of the individual, you need to have the traceability, how it is arrived at it, the explainability of how it has arrived at it. So no, don't blindly trust any kind of a model, but if you wanted to verify that model is having a right decision making capability, you need to ensure that explainability and traceability is taken care. So today, for HR or non-HR, anything who is adopting the AI, trustworthy AI is one of the foundational principle under which the models need to operate. If trustworthy AI, which encompasses fairness, safety, explainability, if these elements are not taken care, then that model is not trustworthy. So, as per part of your request, what I'm trying to say is, embedding such kind of a philosophy as part of your AI tooling ecosystem, embedding such kind of a guardrails will ensure that one employee information is not made available for the people who are not responsible to access it. You can control the taxes, you can control, have that kind of required firewalls or guardrails to restrict it.
Right, sir. So the next question is how easy or difficult it is for MSME, especially small enterprises, to adopt to AI domain, and what about the investment required for small units?
Very tough question, but this is what the reality is. Today, I see that MSMEs have a huge challenge because they do not have the sufficient funds to run through the sandbox environments. They face financial problems, they have a skill problems, they also face a regulatory guidance problems. So, in order for it to make affordable, it's very important for the micro, small, and medium enterprises to embrace with the support of Government of India. Government of India, I would encourage them to provide that sandbox environment for them to experiment and explore those things. Otherwise, for them, it is very, very tough to navigate through these things. Unless you put in, see today, if for any AI model to run, people say I need a GPUs, very expensive.
Hmm.
How do they source that particular fund? But
Right.
in case if there is a kind of a democratization of such kind of sandboxes are made available, for which
Hmm.
they have the environments under which they can operate at a lower cost, that would be fantastic, and that's where government should come and help them out.
Right. Thank you. So the next question is, sir, just now you said if we wish to implement AI, there can be some resistance, and for such situations, we need to talk to organizations who have implemented the AI. Can you please guide us who are such Indian companies who have implemented and whether they will support us?
See, today if you are trying to touch any company, any company, whether it is a retail company or pharma company, healthcare company, they have implemented it. In fact, I would say the best thing is one of the strongest AI implementations are happening in the Indian healthcare industry. Speak to Yashoda hospitals, speak to Apollo hospitals, speak to any of the retail firms like Amazon. Speak to companies from Uber, which is operating from India, Ola. They have implemented these things. That is from the industry standpoint. If you are trying to say that from the IT standpoint, you can speak to companies like TCS, Infosys, or Wipro, Accenture. They'll also guide you. The MNC companies like Microsoft, who are embracing and creating this kind of an AI, they'll also guide you how do you drive this entire change management, how they are able to successfully navigate this. And purely, I would say, if there is a value for you, you'll buy into that thought. If there is no value, you avoid it. Today, people need to understand the value of this particular AI tools. I'll tell you, M365 Copilot is one of the beautiful thing which has been rolled out within the organization. And we are continuously driving the navigator sessions for salespeople, marketing people, finance people, telling them day in the life how these AI tools can help you in accelerating your productivity and create more bandwidth for you to focus on something different. It has improved their work balance. They are able to do more with less, and they are able to continuously leverage these tools. So, say for instance, if Copilot is there in your Outlook, which is your email system, at least 20 mails if you are sending in a day, can you draft 4 mails in Outlook using Copilot? It improves your productivity. If you are holding a Teams meeting, say for instance, a meeting you have on, after the meeting, someone need to draft your notes, someone need to draft your action plan, someone need to draft your minutes. All these things consolidated through the Teams Copilot. You need not work on it. You just need to review that and see that the grammar and the correctness of it. Once that you corrected it, everything is done. So you're able to send out the minutes and action plan within the next 5 minutes rather than taking almost half a day to draft those things. This levers is something you need to consistently leverage, apply. Then tools will perform better and your bandwidth also gets improved. Just giving some candid examples, but you have opportunity to connect with any organization.
Yes, yes, very nice, sir. Thank you. These examples are really helpful, actually. So, compliments are insightful session. Thank you so much, sir. We
Thank
are
you.
really thankful to you, and IACC is really grateful for such an insightful session, so much information, and such a detailed presentation, sir. And this is very, very important topic. I think companies, SMEs, everybody has to start working on this. But this session is an eye opener, I think, and maybe members will get some support to understand how to step into this important AI domain. So we are
Yeah,
really
yeah.
grateful to you, Bala sir, for this
Thank
very
you.
important session. Chandra sir,
Thank
if
you.
you'd like to say a few words.
No, thank you. Actually, thank you, Bala sir. You have obliged our request, and it is a very wonderful session we had.
Yeah, yeah,
The way
yes.
also, it's not just somebody speaking. It
Hmm.
is people. The people who asked questions.
Hmm.
They're all very important questions they asked, and they were answered very well. Excellent session. Hmm. I'm really grateful to you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you, Bala sir. Thank you, Chandra